Hey everybody, this is Brett with the Indie Comics Dispatch and broadcasting from an undisclosed location deep within the Milky Way galaxy. This is a broadcast from the Dispatch.
If you got a story and you want the world to know it, if you think you ready and you ain't afraid to show it, throw your hands up high, yeah, we might stand out. We always representing cause that's what it's all about. We always representing cause that's what it's all about. And if you love some indie comics, let me hear you shout. Like, just stay tuned, what's the story? Had to get that every time a brand new indie comic from the Dispatch.
Good evening, everybody.
What's going on, gentlemen? How you doing?
Greetings.
So Quentin's here with us this evening from an undisclosed location deep inside Area 51. And so if we understand if you have to go, if something happens, it's for the safety of our entire nation, Quentin. We are with you.
God, he lays it on thick.
I love it every now and then when somebody asks what you actually do, and we're just like, can't tell you.
Right. It's classified.
Classified.
There's stuff that happens that I'm not allowed to talk about.
Exactly. Which is why we don't even bring it up. The aliens you deal with, we don't even mention extraterrestrials here.
Secret Agent Q.
Not many people joining the stream yet, but as they do, share the stream, and sharing is caring. We are here tonight to talk about indie comics, and I wanted to talk a little bit about marketing comics, reviewing comics, since we have Quentin here with us, and different topics. And we'll just kind of go and chat for an hour or so.
Okay.
But first, before we get to comic book reviews, something happened today. Brian Lambert, tell us what happened today.
So today, as a birthday present, I keep pitching it like that, right? So you've got to support it. We launched, Wingless Comics launched Justice number 133 this morning at 9 o'clock. So obviously we're super amped about that, man. I'm so glad to get the story back and to kind of be back with Justice, which kind of sounds, I don't know, like counterintuitive because he was in Nightfall. But I love the stuff that just focuses purely on him and getting this story out and kind of building the world of the Wingverse. We're just shy of 50% on the first day. We also got a project we love from Kickstarter first day out. So we're just rolling along, man. It's really, really dope. It's actually a 24-page book. We've also got a mini for Lux, who showed up in Nightfall as well. And we've got the next part of Caliburn in there. It's chock full of indie comic greatness. Over 30 pages of material, some really great posters. Obviously, it's the best thing you'll ever read because it has an amazing author. Witness Comics also is very fortunate to have a really, really great art team in Fabio Samao and Nestor Rajula Jr. There's the cover, as you can see. Justice kind of standing before the gates of hell. So that tells you what the tenor of this book is going to be. Like I said, it really opens up the world and the storytelling itself. We have some new characters that have some really, really big parts and responsibilities in Justice's life, which are going to obviously evolve as things continue. We have what I like to call now the most controversial panel or two-page spread in comics today. We have a spread that, again, once you get into the book, all of it will make sense. So you've got to read to see it. It's an homage to Spawn number 10. And we're just having a shit ton of fun. Can I say shit ton?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're having a shit ton of fun.
I've said worse.
I wasn't sure if it was PG. I couldn't remember. Yeah, like I said, we're going to get the next section of Caliburn's adventure, which we're building on each Justice issue. Lux Zero gets her debut, which is also dope. So Lux is a very special project to me because one, it was created for my sister. That was being written by my sister. We weren't able to do it for Lux Zero, but going into Lux number one, it's going to be an all-female creative team, which I think is super dope and also very necessary in terms of like we talk about representation. That's not even a word. Representation and all of it mattering, right? But then sometimes we don't do the legwork to make sure that we back that up with our deeds. So I wanted to be very careful and make sure we got a team that's representative of the book itself. We also have two dope posters. Sword Brothers is what I'm calling them now. I just made that up. Maybe we'll change it later.
I love it.
But the cover for Immortalis number one, which will debut later on this year, which is I've read the script. Well, obviously I read the script, but I also edited it. And this is going to be such a dope book. It's again, so to me, right, being the person who started it, the strength of Wingless is in the stories that you can tell and how you can just continue to expand on the lore and the nature of it. Immortalis does that. Immortalis is something the story isn't set in the present, right? So it gets to set all this background to where when you see something happen in Justice or Caliburn or her, it's amazing because we've set the background for it in Immortalis or another book. Brett and I coordinate very, very well. 9 times out of 10, he's like, hey, Brian, I want to do this certain thing. And it's actually an idea that I wanted to use, but he has a place to use it. So I'm like, damn it, I love that. So it's really, really fun. Also, the other picture here is Sir Kyle 100. And that comes from my original novel, Ascension, which started me on this entire path. It's also very, very important to me because if you have eyes, you could see that Sir Kyle Hunter it's me. Like, I'm not even trying to hide it at this point, right? Like,
kind of. He's more handsome, but
right.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, he's the one. He's the guy. He's got a sword. I have a sword. But it's very important to me in that one. The story is very important, but also working with Keith and Jones. He's the one who did the picture, and he really captured the essence of not only me, right, but the character itself. And so that is like a seminal piece that will always be around in Wingless culture, for lack of better words. So it's going to be awesome. Also, we should have a graphic novel next year.
Whoop, whoop.
Add-ons, as always, you can always get all of our books. I've been asked a few times if I'm going to release shirts. I have not yet, but we may update it and add a shirt or two to the campaign as add-on. So keep your eyes open for that.
And you probably know this, Brian. This isn't probably like news to you, but sometimes I think just hearing it out loud, this is the 10th comic book featuring Justice. 10 issues.
Shit. You're right. I didn't know that. I was like, I had to count.
That's a big fucking deal, man.
Nah, man, 10. Yeah. 10 in 2 years.
10 in 2 years.
Yeah.
So you got all 5, for those counting, all 5 Nightfalls. 4 and 5 will be released soonish. 5's finishing production of Nightfall right now. Number 5's finishing production. And then you have issue 0, issue half, issue 1, 2, and 3 of Justice. So that's 10 issues, which is just amazing.
There's a reason I have gray hair now. I mean, on the little bit of hair I have.
When are we going to get a physical copy of Simple Wish?
So, you're making me break secrets here. But I plan on releasing physical copies and a prestige edition after issue 4. So issue 4 will finish up the first arc, and I want to launch all of it together. Because I know some people didn't get 0 either.
Yeah.
And Simple Wish has never been printed. So I want to release I actually need to release the entire thing for myself. I don't even have at this point a printed copy of 0 because we sold them or whatever else. And I never got a printed copy of Simple Wish. So they are on the way though. They are definitely on the way.
Excellent.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, if you're out there watching, we are talking indie comics this evening. If you have a topic you want us to discuss, let us know. Brian was just telling us about the Wingless Comics Kickstarter is going on right now for Justice issue 3. It's issue 3, but Justice has been in 10 comics. You do the math. And you can get to that Kickstarter by going to winglessent.com/Kickstarter, and that'll forward you to the Kickstarter page. Almost 50% to goal, so it's doing awesome for what, 8 hours in,
Yeah.
9 hours in, and got Project We Love from Kickstarter in like less than 2 hours of being live. So like it was fucking amazing.
Right.
Um,
Super amped about that. Thank you, Kickstarter.
If you're looking for the comment, click it. winglessent.com/Kickstarter. It's in the comments on YouTube and Facebook under the Indie Comics Dispatch profile. If you're out there watching, again, share our feed, share it to groups you like, your personal profile. The more you share, the more exposure we get. The more exposure we get, the more people that learn about indie comics. And so that's what we're here for. So, Quentin, I wanted to bring up this evening. I know it's happened to us many times throughout the history of Indie Comics Dispatch, and we are officially 2 years old now. We are a toddler at Indie Comics Dispatch, so we are officially 2 years old. But it's happened to us not a ton, but every now and then an author will be disappointed in their review score. And more times than not, it's on an issue 1. And I wanted to bring up how hard it is to get a high score on a first issue, because I don't think a lot of people realize this. Do you want to take that?
I'd love to take that, considering I field quite a few of those. For me, for an issue 1, first of all, you have to have the holy trinity of comics. To me, first of all, you have to have a plot that you're going, okay, this is something that people are willing to buy into and go, yes, I want to see where this is going.
Love you too, Dale.
Second of all, a setting. You have to establish a good setting. I don't care if it's space. I don't care if it's at the center of the earth. On the planet Timbuktu or whatever. Whatever. Establish a good setting. And third, establish characters. We need something. It does. You don't have to feel like you're friends with every single one of them, but there needs to be at least one character that you love or hate. It doesn't matter which, but something that something that's striking about them that makes you impassioned about a character. And by hate I don't mean I don't like them because of the way they're drawn or the way they're written. I mean because, I hate them because of the way they act, what they're doing. There needs to be that connection on one end of the spectrum or the other.
And that's a lot to handle within 22 pages of when you're establishing everything.
I've written saying so. I wish I could remember the name of the title, because I know Carter Mann wrote the book, and it was his first issue. And in that issue, I broke down. This is when I was writing about it, I broke down. Hey, here's what you're looking for. He established a setting. He established a plot. The characters, for most people, the characters are going to come with time. You're not going to have a character. Usually, you're not going to be able to be fortunate enough to hit for the cycle and get all 3 on one shot. But you need to. You have to be able to firmly establish 2 of the 3. And have and be able to let the plot hold up enough to make sure that people will want to buy the next issue.
Yeah. Was it Immortal Orphans?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, no problem. I pulled up Carter's Facebook profile real quick.
I think I don't want to say it's well publicized, but even with my work with ICD, I make sure that I don't do reviews, seeing that I am a person that is in indie comics. I don't think that that's necessarily fair to review my peers in that form. But with what Quentin is talking about, I feel as a writer, sometimes when we dive into comics, we have the what I like to call the 90s cartoon formula. And even the movies were doing this for a while, where they thought they had to drop you in, give the origin again, and then tell us the story, right? That's why we have 19 Batman origins, 19 Spider-Man origins. By now we know a lot of these people. Or you can give the story, the backstory in later issues. And so when you're doing an issue 1 and you're trying to give an origin plus the new plot, that's very difficult. Like, the origin is going to take up a third of your book. So the new plot's got to be what, you're going to 14 pages to get a whole new plot, to connect with characters, to do whatever you got to do. And that's not, people sometimes forget that that's not easy. Getting an entire story into 14 pages is difficult without glossing over a lot of things and missing a lot of that character stuff, which leads to a harsher score because the script is rushed at that point.
And one thing that I always like bringing up as often as we can is the ICD review system is, a 2.5 to 3.0. A lot of people get bummed about that because you're used to reading reviews on Amazon and seeing 2.5 stars, so that's not good. But that's average. We start at average and then go up or down from there. And so if it's under 2.5, you'll never see it on ICD's review site. We don't believe in putting creators down. We believe in building them up, giving them the feedback they need to make it into an okay book. And then 3 to 3.5 is above average. 3.5 to 4 is good. We hardly ever get any that are in this 4 to 5 range. Brian, I think you had one recently reach that from Quentin.
Yeah.
And we know you paid him, but it's okay, man.
I didn't pay him enough because I didn't get a 5. So
no. but anything above a 4 is really rare, right, Quentin?
And I'm finding, anything over, if you're clearing 4, that means you've got the total package. You've got the cover art that that jumps out and makes you go, oh my god. You've got the the interior pages are phenomenal. You have a story that has me going, I have got to tell my friends about this. And it's and cover arts are subjective. Brian, we talked about this a little bit a while ago. So finding a cover that's getting a cover that's going to be iconic, for lack of a better word. I hate to keep using the same term over and over again, but a cover that just jumps out and makes people take notice. It's hard figuring out what people want. In fact,
you brought up a good word, Quentin. Subjective. Reviews in general are subjective, right? I mean, like reviews are subjective. I mean, you may get a 3.5 from us. You think you are 4 or 5 book. That's just our opinion, I mean, it's no big deal. So reviews are subjective. Dale said, I had a review I posted yesterday, actually asked me what mechanics and editing meant in the context of a comic review. Yeah, I mean, that's all on our website. You can go into the, we have a post on that if anybody ever asks that. And the review system is never concrete. We are always looking to improve and evolve and upgrade. And we're going to be having a review soon about how we do reviews to make sure.
To say on that.
What's that?
I might have a couple suggestions for when that comes around.
Yeah. And I was actually thinking recently, maybe combining mechanics and editing into one, since they're so often.
I see both sides of that. Part of me says, no, keep mechanics separate, because mechanics to me means how easy is it to fall into this book where where you're immersed in this world. Versus editing, that's the the comic book term, the technical term for the comic book sound effects. Yeah. I can never pronounce it correctly.
No, neither can I.
But things like that, the lettering, part of the editing, to me, is the occasional editor's note for, for like the Star Wars books. They like to bounce between planets a lot. So a little, that little editor's note or some little blurb, something in the top corner showing, hey, we're in a new location. Things like that to help the reader along to be able to follow, stay in. That's, to me, that's what editing is.
No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, yeah.
So to me, I think that I believe those need to remain separate categories for that reason, because it's two very different things.
Also, you have, and I think this is not limited to just comic books, but we have the societal thing where we don't consider average, right? Average is looked down on now. Which is, it makes no sense. It's no, this is what most people are doing. You've got a little bit of high, a little bit of low. This is what makes average. People have a problem with being average, which we shouldn't. So when you say that, especially in a review, and I've yelled at Quentin offline a bunch of times because I'm like, God damn it, I'm a 5, Quentin. Give me a 5. And Quentin had to remind me, he was like, Brian, most people are getting 3s, right? Because And there's a difference between striving for greatness and then really like expecting that no matter what. Like no matter what you put out, oh, it should be a 5. No, man. If you have mechanical errors, if you have these things, it can still be average. It's still not bad.
And also, I mean, just if you're in the middle of an arc, like let's say you have a 5-issue arc, well, hopefully that score increases with each issue. You don't want to start at a 5 because you only have one place to go, and that's down.
Yeah, exactly.
So, anyway.
Yeah. And the other thing I don't think people realize is, for the score that we put for the final score, that's the average of all those categories combined.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So one knock can take you that average down quite a bit.
Which is where, going back to covers, where the cover art is subjective. When you have 6 categories and you're scoring in the 4s on all these other categories, but that cover is very lackluster, and it maybe gets a 2.5 or a 3, that's going to pull the weight of the whole score down.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when Justice number 5 hits, I'm just putting a Transformer on the cover, Quentin.
Make a special edition just for Quentin's review copy.
Yeah, yep. I know how to play this game.
I would love that, actually.
Comedy.
Oh, all right. Well, this is your every now and then reminder that we do reviews at Indie Comics Dispatch. You can submit those at indiecomicsdispatch.com. Click on the submit button at the top. If you want to send us physical copies, Quentin loves getting what he calls fan mail. We reviewed the physical copies. Most of those get sent to Quentin. I expect all of them. I'm not even gonna lie. All of them get sent to Quentin right now, because he's our he doesn't like titles, but he's our lead reviewer and he's in charge of reviews, whether he likes it or not.
He definitely
is. So yeah.
And one other thing for the creators that that send the fan mail, I have a reading queue of anywhere from 200 to 300 books at any given time. Fan mail usually finds its way to the top much faster.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Digital stuff I may or may not get to eventually.
Yeah.
But
a physical copy is gonna. Sometimes people email and be like, do you have a time frame on reviews? No, we don't offer time frames. But I say that physical copy. I know it's an expense, but it does get you kind of moving faster because when reviewers get that in their hand, they want to read it.
A physical copy for me, if a physical copy shows up at my house, I do everything I can to make it within a week and a half.
Well, first you tell your wife, I didn't buy this one. Somebody sent me this one.
Then she goes, why does it say Transformers on it? I actually, there was one day where, the stars lined up and like 6 different people sent me their stuff on the same day, and my wife went, "What did you buy?" And and I'm looking at the stack of books on the table and go, and they're all Gemini mailers and the like, and I'm going,
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
Actually, my wife's incredible, though, for all for everything about my collecting, for whether it's comics or some of my action figures. Her take on it is, if the bills are paid, I'm helping out with groceries and helping cover some of the stuff the kids are involved in. I can do whatever I want. She doesn't care.
Nice.
That's cool. That's my agreement with Brian too.
There might be an eye roll sometimes, but especially the big Scorponok I got, that managed to get into the living room.
Yeah, my wife would be like, no.
Right. Speaking of collecting, real quick, I want to send a shout out, and I know she's going to be on the stream in just her own stream in just a minute. It's obviously, like I said, I mentioned it before, it's my birthday tomorrow. Yep. My sister got me probably the most epic present for me that she could. So my sister Jordan Lambert got me this, right? I don't know if you guys can see it.
No, not yet. Oh, there it is. There it is. Is that a animation frame?
It actually is the legit animation cell from, for me, one of the greatest comic books of all time. I mean, cartoons of all time. I love Eek the Cat and Thunder Lizards. Like, it was like kind of an unsung 90s crazy, ridiculous cartoon, but it's obvious. It's one of my favorites, obviously in my top 10 not even my it is my favorite cartoon of all fucking time. So
have
she actually
that
got it signed. We were at LA Comic Con together, and she vended for me, and the creator was there. But I didn't have a chance to go buy this particular cell, and I wanted to. When I saw it, I was like, "I'll go back," but we missed it. But my sister didn't forget, and she ended up sending it to me, giving it to me for my birthday. So I wanted to send a shout out to her. I also want to send a shout out to Stranger Comics. Every time I'm on a live stream with Sebastian, okay, so Sebastian is a guy that I know actually like in the flesh, in person. We've had deep, long, lengthy conversations. Every single time this guy gets me to buy something.
It's the accent. It's 100% the accent.
Right, yeah.
Brian, buy my comic book.
Right, no hard sale. I'm just saying. And I'm like, oh,
because of you, I know who Niobe is.
Right. No, so actually, an excellent comic series. I actually ended up winning this one. This was part of the raffle. So I ended up winning this, and this is a new debut one. But I also have him. They're doing a special edition, 1-of-1 sketch cover of one of my characters in Niobe. I couldn't again. He was like, "Oh no, you could get it. It would be nice." And I was like, "Yes, please." So, Sebastian, good job.
It would be nice,
right? He's such a honestly great guy.
He's honestly super cool.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, I've had legit conversations with this guy, and as soon as he's like, "You should buy something," I'm like, "Yes, I should. Yes." So I just want to shout out to Stranger Comics and those guys too.
Yep.
We all have that creator. For me, one of them's Tyler Blazinski.
Mm-hmm.
He did the big. I'm sure this is gonna be a big surprise. He did Transformer Galaxies 1 through 4.
Yeah.
The origin story for the Constructicons and Devastator.
Yeah.
And got to know him when I was in California a couple of years ago. He took time out of his day to come sign one of my books for me.
Oh, that's cool. That's really cool.
And he gave us some pointers on things for shortcuts for at Disney when you're at Disneyland on how to get through things faster.
Oh, nice. That's the real ticket. Like that's the real goal.
You train your children to projectile vomit on people in front of you in the lines. That's how you get through them fast.
That works. I'll have to keep that one in mind.
Yeah, keep that in mind. Follow me for more parenting tips. Well, let's talk about books that are coming out that we're excited about.
Ooh.
Yes, sir.
A couple of them. Tomorrow is a big day. I'm sure you guys remember about a year and a half ago, I was fresh to the dispatch and I was screaming about this book called The Recount.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow, Scout Comics is dropping The Recount Preamble by Jonathan Hedrick. Mm-hmm. It's the prequel to everything leading up to all the events that we saw in The Recount. Goes from JFK's time to modern times. It's on my pull list with about 5 other copies for other people because I've been, this is the book I've been screaming you've got to read. So I'm very, very excited about that one. Nothing personal, everybody out there watching. That one's at the top of my reading queue as soon as it's in my hot little hand. A very close second, Kaiju Score from Aftershock Comics. They have a sequel to that series called Steal from the Gods. The second issue of that's coming out tomorrow. That one's by James Patrick. He gave us that the story in the cover with Harley Quinn where she's holding the pistol and it's smoking. He wrote that book. So that one's coming out. Looking forward to that. There's another Transformer book coming out. Of course, I'm looking forward to that. And those are just the ones off the top of my head. And Alice Ever After #2 is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
One of these days, there's going to be a new comic book day that does not cost me $30 to go into the store.
Lies.
Not true. That's what I say about Kickstarters.
Right. Actually, I have to look at mine because there are quite a few. Like I'm following quite a few, which I'm not as on mainstream comics as I probably should be in terms of my pull list, but that's because I spend a lot of time supporting indies now. Titan Ultraman from Advent Comics is currently on Kickstarter. I'm looking forward to that. Tony Cottrell and those guys are always going to be one of the first people to welcome me into the industry. Keisha Demon Eater from
Dream Fury.
Dream Fury, yes, thank you. Newton Little Voice. I'm looking forward to that one as well. Reign of Chaos from Brandon Calloway. And it's Dark Moon Studios. They're on Kickstarter right now.
And there's a review of it on ICD.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I wasn't sure if it was a review because I was like, I don't think the book is
Which
out
title
yet.
is this?
Chaos, Reign of Chaos, right?
Number one, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Also, FSK is going to be releasing a book on the 20th, as well as Don Walker, I believe he's doing an art book on the 20th. Oh, and this, if you guys don't know this artist, please go follow Stan Yak. The Art of Stan Yak is going to be released from Unlikely Heroes Studios.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
In about 5 days, I think it is at the most. That's going to be a gorgeous book. Stan Yak did the cover for Justice #1. The dude is amazing. I can't wait to see that. That art book. That's going to be really, really dope. Also, released today. What's the title of that one? Oh yeah, Justice #3 was released today on Kickstarter. I'm really excited for that.
I've already backed that one, so I overslept, so I couldn't be the first one this time.
Oh yeah. Shouts out again. Shouts out to Roland. He actually,
he was the first one, wasn't he?
Most of the time, it's Morgan Iverson or Laurie, and Roe just killed everybody. He's got a title, Scarlet Ranger, that's going to hit later on this month as well. So I'm looking forward to that as well, man. Great
That's
guy.
Awesome.
Really, really great guy.
That's awesome. Well, I just want to say, if you're looking for something to like, Tales of the Dispatch is still on the front page of Global Comics.
Nice.
You can go read it for free at globalcomics.com. Comics with an X, just like the Dispatch. But it's volume 3. This one has done really well. So, last year we did two volumes. This year we just did one big volume. Like this is a big book. It's over 100 pages. Lots of stories, lots of just different genres of stories in there. And there's handsome zombies on the cover. And if you're looking for your next fun free read, Tales from the Dispatch volume 3 on Global Comics. There are several. You mentioned several of the Kickstarters, Brian, that I'm looking forward to. Keisha Demon Hunter, backing that one. Concrete just finished a Kickstarter.
Absolver.
Danny just finished a Kickstarter. I believe his is finished, isn't it?
Yeah, Ace Blade just finished up last night or nights ago.
So there's all sorts of great books out there right now that I'm looking forward to. Of course, looking forward to towards the end of the summer, Immortalis #1 coming out. So that should be cool. Yeah, I've heard good things about the publishing company.
They do what they do.
But so that's what's on my radar right now. Again, I have a pull list on my local comic shop. It is basically just Undiscovered Country and the Superman titles at this point. And so I'm kind of out of the loop on everything else.
Love the jumping off point from Undiscovered Country, and after about the first 4 or 5 books, it seemed to get weirder and weirder and weirder. Yeah,
that's the boat I'm in right now. I'm trying to decide how long to stay aboard with it.
Don't get me wrong. Usually, if it's a bit weird or out there, it's usually right up my alley. I'm just having a lot of trouble getting into this and staying in this.
Yeah, I agree. What keeps me going is Scott Snyder, right? Is the writer, I believe. He said that he had like 100 issues outlined. So like everything is part of like some grandmaster plan that I'm just waiting to see if it actualizes.
In all fairness, look how many issues Dan Slott did for Spider-Man. That guy had a hard-on for screwing over Peter Parker.
Well, I mean, if you're going to screw Peter Parker, you might as well have a hard-on. So,
absolutely.
What?
I just said touche.
Touche.
When you look at all the stuff that he puts, they put Parker through. Having Doc Ock marry Aunt May, having Peter take over Doc Ock's body. Those are just a couple right off the top of my head. Yeah,
I kind of like that.
Yeah, right. I was like, he had a long time. Well, Spider-Man. I don't want to say he has an easy path, but he does definitely go through some like easy periods in terms of comics where he's like, everything is in his favor, even though he's still like, woe is me, I'm every man. But it's like, bro, you got, Parker Industries and da 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 da. And you're like, but you're not every man. You know what I mean? So I like when they bring him down, like they kind of tear him down in order to get that back.
I do like that just because the reminder, with the Spider-Man books, that's one of the favorite things that why Spider-Man did so well. Spider-Man, everybody looked at him and went, "That can be me."
Yeah.
I'm a radioactive spider, by the way.
Right. So,
Brian, I think you're going to say something. Yeah.
I just wanted to ask you because I want to make sure that we get to it and don't kind of gloss over it. But it's really, really important, and you have helped quite a few companies with it. Independent comic marketing.
Yeah.
I know that's one phrase, but it's not one thing, right?
It's really not. And the powers that be are always fucking with it, right? And so just when you think you have something down, you don't. So I've actually been considering doing a series of videos for this for my LinkedIn. If you are a comic creator, Brian, I'm talking to you, and you're not on LinkedIn, get on LinkedIn. I've connected with so many larger publishing companies with the editors in chief and stuff like that. And it can open lots of great opportunities. So number one, as a comic creator, always market yourself. Because you are you want people to read your story, but a lot of times people are supporting a person, not a project. So market yourself. But
one of the best I've seen at that, Brian Silverbacks.
Yeah, he is really good at that. He is, and just his whole brand, and that's another thing I wanted to touch on is have a brand for your comic. And so no names are going to be named here, but there is a comic book company, independent creator studio that has rebranded itself. It's been out for approximately a year, slightly over a year, and it's on its third name even. You have no time to build a brand recognition. You have no time to do anything if you are changing that frequently. I'm a person who loves to change shit up, right? We're always doing stuff at our house to change stuff around. When I have a personal website, I'm redesigning it every other month. When I started Indie Comics Dispatch, I knew that brand recognition was going to be really important. And so we have not changed the logo. I will probably never change the logo. The website has been very slow to update and change over time since we launched it. And that's just all building brand recognition, right? Having a strong brand is more than a logo. It's more than a catchy name. It's that people can see somebody with bad eyesight can see that fuzzy shield for Indie Comics Dispatch and know what it is over time. And so you got to take time to build a brand and make it consistent. Like I said, I think I'm going to start doing some short videos on LinkedIn for creators to build brands, because things like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook even are no longer built for creators to promote their creations. At least independent comic creators and artists and stuff like that. It's all video. Instagram has said they're a video platform now. TikTok always been a video platform. Facebook prioritizes video. Nothing is made for us as comic creators anymore for the static image. Nothing. And so you have to keep inventing yourself. You have to find new ways to showcase yourself, to showcase your creations through video, and be willing to relearn it all again in another 6 months. I read an interesting thing the other day, hashtags. Everybody's trying to find the right hashtags for a while. Instagram chief marketing strategist said, hashtags no longer increase your reach. They're just a way of filing. You can hashtag all you want. It's not going to increase your reach. Which is like, well, what the hell? How do people discover you? And so it's just, they keep making it harder and harder and harder because they want to force you into buying ads. And that works for some people who have the money, but come on, small time creators, we don't have huge budgets for ads. And so one of the easiest things you can do, Quentin posts stuff like this all the time, actually. One of the best things you can do for your creator friends is share their status. when you see them post something, share it on Facebook, share it to your profile, on Instagram, share it to your story, on Twitter, retweet it, like it, do all the things. Reposting, like if you use one of the repost apps on Instagram, doesn't do a whole lot. It does create more exposure, but it doesn't do much for their original post. So liking, saving, sharing, sharing to story, all that stuff is really important for creators. And when we as creators do that for each other, it just helps the whole community out. So yeah. That's a lot of rambling there, but it's I just want to bring up that it's hard, right? It's hard, and every time we think we have a handle on something, it changes.
Also, I want to say, fuck you, Brett. I'm on LinkedIn. Hate you. I even wrote
Not
you a really nice-
actively, you're not actively on LinkedIn.
I'm trying. I'm starting.
It's been
Yeah,
about 15 years. I need to update my
100%
profile.
agree. Well, what'd you say, Quentin? I'm sorry.
It's been about 10, 15 years. I need to update mine.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard. So that's another part that's hard. 2 years ago, even, right? You could go on Facebook and you're going to go into a bunch of groups and people are going to interact because, people can see group posts, but that's not the case. Then TikTok blows up, right? And the way to get into there is a couple, 30-second videos to show what you do, get followers. And that's still going strong, but getting those across the board, even you have, I think it's the number is like 1%, whatever your followers are, you get.
Yeah, on Facebook and TikTok, yeah, it's tiny. On Instagram, it's 3%. Yeah.
So that is a much more difficult playing field than it was in the past. And so you got to get out there and hustle. You got to be on ICD. You got to be on whatever podcast you can. All your friends have got to gang up, and if you guys got to do a round robin to be on each other,
and then share the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's not as easy as it used to be, but I will shout out again. 2 years in, 3 years in, or 2.5 years in now. 2.5 years in now, I will shout out all the supporters that have been with you since the beginning. They really do stay with you. I have people that have I guess 8 out of 10 comics Justice has been in, and they'll let me know, or they're on order, or they're there, and it's you can't put a price on that. You can't quantify how much that helps, and people just shouting you out and kind of looking for what you're putting out there. So thank you to all of those. Thank you to everybody who's ever had me on a podcast. I appreciate you guys.
I'm sorry, you were supposed to be my first host, but because of technical difficulties.
All right. Yeah, we had to do it written, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did I know that? I'm not sure I knew that.
I think it was. I think it was prior.
It was right before I came on board with the Dispatch. I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty funny. I'm trying to see if I can. Here we go. Okay.
Can Brett do
shit.
things? We don't know. It looks like no.
So I was trying to pull up, but I can't quite get it to where I want it. Hold on. Brian mentioned being on ICD for stuff, and okay, let me see if I can share this. In the past 30 days, we have had 4,590 unique page views. That's different people coming to the website looking at stuff. 4,590, and I pulled it up in the wrong tab to share it, so that's my bad, but you guys are just gonna have to take my word for it here. 4,590 unique page views. So again, ICD isn't the only platform out there, but you need to, I know that some of the stuff with the marketing is one of the last things that people think about when they're launching a campaign, but getting a press release together, identifying press outlets to send it to, all that's important, because if you send it to ICD, more than likely we're going to post it. The only ones I don't post are ones that are the people just make it really hard to post, to be honest. They do like all the things you shouldn't do with the press release, embedding text in images, and just that gets hard, guys. And I have a full-time job. ICD is a passion project. And so send out a press release, and I mean, even if you just send it to ICD, that's a potential of about 5,000 additional eyes on your project that you wouldn't have had otherwise. And you never know. I mean, we don't know yet what the conversion rate is from people who view something on ICD to pledge. That's next on my list to figure that out. But even if you just get one or two more pledges, that's one or two more pledges. That could be the difference between making goal and not making goal. So, and speaking, Brian has a friend helping with marketing on this campaign also, and I just got the distribution of your press release for Wingless 3
Nice.
through Lori. So
Nice.
yeah.
So do it, these guys. It works.
It works. It works. And ICD already posted the Wingless Comics press release. It's front page today, so you guys can go check it out.
How long until I get to read Justice 3?
Give me end of the week.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. We had so that's another thing that, and this goes into comic creation. Plan for mistakes, right? Like I don't normally plan for mistakes. My budget, my timing, my schedule, it's all a tightrope. But that's not the best way to do things. I'm able to do that because of how I've planned ahead for most of these things. I ran into a coloring snafu. So normally by the time I launch a campaign, everything is completely done. I'm still waiting for 3 pages, which is not huge, right? Like that's not a deal breaker for the comic itself, but it's not my normal way of going about things. So normally I launch it, I send my press copies out to you and Grandmaster Packs and a couple other people. I haven't obviously been able to do that this time, but within the week, far before the campaign is done, the media copies will be out, and you guys get to check them out.
And that's another thing. Identify reviewers that you send media copies to. Again, getting the word out there, getting people talking positively. And again, like sometimes with the review system, people focus on the rating. Man, you could get a 2.5, and I guarantee you there'll be a pull quote in that review that you can use in your reviews or in your marketing. You know, like this comic book really touched on nostalgia and brought me back to my childhood. Boom. Pull that quote, put it on your damn Kickstarter, put it on posts all over the place. You don't have to say how many stars you got. Pull some quotes and use that. That's the best way to use reviews, honestly.
They say all press is good press.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
Sometimes controversy, and I'm not saying start controversy, guys. That's not what I'm saying. But if you get a review that is controversial to you, if you're spinning that the correct way, if you're talking about it the correct way, that generates buzz and it'll get a conversation going about. And that's another thing that's really good. Getting a conversation going about what you're passionate about, what you're doing. If you're getting a conversation going, that does as much or more for you than the posts and the reposts in terms of getting people actually engaged in what you're doing.
And don't forget, I for some reason, I don't know why. For some reason, I hate Reddit. I just hate Reddit. But don't forget about Reddit in your marketing plan. There are indie comic groups on there. There are comic book groups on there. There are groups that have posts dedicated to days you can post dedicated to Kickstarter. Don't leave Reddit out of your marketing campaign because it's important. Like Brian was saying, so there was one campaign, I think it was Justice 2, maybe, Brian, where we read that like the negative comments get more attention, and so we had a thing going internally about commenting negatively on stuff. But there's ways of you were probably like, why are these guys arguing? They're all friends. If you get a review you don't like or whatever, take that and be like, hey guys, I got this review, see what you think, because I don't agree with it. And then let your friends comment, and again, build that buzz. Brian's right. And there rarely is there bad press for creators. If it's about your creation, rarely is it bad.
Yep.
Because either way, people are talking about it.
Yep. Exactly. Oh, I could go on about that sort of stuff all night because I see so many creators who put so much work into their creation and then just let the marketing and promotion side just And I'm like, no, don't let that part go. That's the last mile. That's that last yard until you make it to the end zone, you know?
That is the goal.
Mm-hmm.
And on the subject of reviews again, I understand that these, a lot of these things, these are people's babies that they're handing to me to go tell me what you think about my kid. If you want, anybody watching this, if you want to ask me about anything, I'm more than happy to go over it. And if you can be professional about it, by all means, I'll be happy to say, be specific, and this is what needs more work. This is my, if as long as you stay professional. If you come in guns blazing, hey asshole.
That's my method.
Yeah.
No, but
and that's when I go, sorry, Brett, I'm working. I'll catch you later.
And to Quentin's point, even if you want, Alex Sorbello did this, and I love this about Alec. Before he sent in his book and finished his book, he read like all the reviews on ICD. Now, back at that point, we didn't have as many reviews as we have now, because we have a shit ton of reviews now. We just passed our 500th review, Quentin. Can you believe that on the site?
Jeez.
500th review.
That's in 2 years.
That's in 2 years. So that's incredible. And a lot of that work is thanks to Quentin. So we have over 500 reviews. We have over 500 news articles. And it's just popping all the time. But go to the site. In fact, go to Quentin's author page. You can find something he's written. Click on his name. It'll take you to his author page. You can see everything he's written. Read his reviews to see what reviewers are looking for. Not all reviewers. Again, reviews are subjective. But it gives you a good baseline of what reviewers are looking for in a book. And again, just lets you get a little more knowledge. All through writing the script for Immortalis 1, I would think like, shit, what's Quentin going to think about this? So, yeah, we'll find out eventually.
Everything.
To make, I still have to read that one. I got a digital copy of it.
Of Zero?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got that in my back window, the Nightfall stuff. And
well, issue 1's going to be so much better than issue 0 because it's longer.
Yeah, the one digital exception on Humble Bundle the other day. Damn them.
Good Zoom tight.
There was they had a promotional deal, 53 Transformer books, most of them trade, in a trade paperback. And all in digital copy for $25.
Oh wow!
And I went to myself, yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, I'm more and more. I don't know. I get lost reading digital. I have to have the physical to I guess my ADHD or my tiredness from having too many children. I need that physical to stay connected. Yeah.
Well, I like it just because that way it's there's some there's parts of the physical I love. I love actually having it in my hand and being and it for my reviews, I love being able to just flip back real quick, not having to scroll through the whole damn book trying to figure out what was that character's name again?
Yeah.
So I prefer the physical for that. Trying to get a good picture from the book to be able to put to attach to the review. For those, digital is the way to go. Yeah,
digital is easier for that, but I don't know. I still like a good picture of a physical book. Oh, gentlemen, we are almost at an hour, and so Patreon, yes. So I have an idea for Patreon, and I'm just going to run it through on the air. I'm going to put up the Patreon banner, and we do. So we have over 1,000 posts at indiecomicsdispatch.com. We have over 500 reviews. We have over 500 news articles. All that's indie, like all that's devoted to indie. We are the only source for nonprofit indie comic news, and we can't survive without patrons. So if you can donate as little as $3 a month at patreon.com/indiecomicsdispatch. But I have an idea that I think for Patreon exclusive posts of getting creators to give their top 3 pieces of advice to other creators, but those are only available as Patreon exclusive posts.
Like
Brian, what do you think?
Like video, we would video it
No, we would just write it, make it easy on everybody, and make it a text post of just right. I mean, it's easy on everybody.
So you guys have fun with that.
So my two ideas right now are that for creators, because we have a lot of creators, right? I mean, obviously creators follow us. One of the top pages that gets hit every day is the resources page of indiecomicsdispatch.com, where we just have links to all sorts of different resources, both articles we've written and other stuff offsite. And then the second thing is a monthly digital comic. I think we have enough people out there that would support that to give monthly digital, and that way it cuts the overhead of us sending out anything physical too, and all that money goes basically right back into Indie Comics Dispatch. You guys might not believe this, but we don't make a ton of money. What? And so it's not like I'm taking trips to Bermuda off the Patreon. So if you're out there and you want to support, patreon.com/indiecomicsdispatch, I am working on right now identifying new ideas to bring to the team, and those are two. The digital comic we've kicked around for a while, and that's my bad for not really getting that off the ground. But other ideas that help bring people, they add more value to your donation. If just having a nonprofit news source for indie comics isn't enough value, we want to add even more value. So.
Wingless Comics will also be doing some writer workshops. That's going to surprise Brett, but we're going to do some writer workshops on Patreon that will be exclusive for about 6 months before pieces of them are released to the wider audience. But the creator workshops and pop-ins will be really, really good. They'll be held live, and we'll go over narrative and story and character and all the little things that a lot of times we don't get to talk about. So we definitely want to, Wingless Comics and myself, obviously, we want to contribute to the platform that Brett has made here. So that will be our contribution. So stay tuned and join Patreon so you get some awesome shit and awesome tips from me.
And awesome tits.
I mean, I have no clue. Did I not even see you well enough?
Patreon goal, Brian without a shirt on. Quentin, were you going to say something that I saw?
I'd be happy to, if somebody has something, be able to, do video chats with them and whatnot. My schedule is a little bit crazy, but what the heck? Mm-hmm. If we have people that want to interact, with a reviewer to go, so I can go over it, page by page with them. I'm not opposed to doing that. It's just,
I love that. We got to set a high goal for that though, because that's a lot of your time, and so maybe they have to be a patron for a certain amount of time. But I like that idea. Let's kick that around a little more. So you can become a patron at patreon.com/indiecomicsdispatch. You can also go to indiecomicsdispatch.com and click on the donate button at the top and just make a one-time donation to, say you don't want to, you got $5 extra this month, but you don't want to give us $5 every month. You can make a one-time donation at indiecomicsdispatch.com. Again, it's tax deductible. We will send you a tax receipt at the end of the year if you're one of those special people that get to itemize. If you're a company, you can sponsor Indie Comics Dispatch and write that off on your company's taxes at the end of the year. So everything Wingless Comics doing, we'll figure out an in-kind donation amount for that, what Brian could have charged for that if he had been out in the public doing that, and then we'll write him a tax receipt for that, for what's called an in-kind donation, and Brian can use that on Wingless Comics taxes at the end of the year. Same with Quentin. We can figure out how much a service like that would cost, and then at the end of the year, write Quentin, and it's an individual, an in-kind donation receipt, and then he can use that on his taxes and get taxed.
I don't get anywhere near close to itemizing that.
Neither do I, but some people out there, the rich people, do, and that's who we want to give to us.
Wait, you gotta be rich to itemize? Because I feel like
I feel like, not with your business stuff.
Okay, because I was like, I itemize and I'm not rich, so what am I doing?
And as a single person, it might make more sense. For a family with child tax credits and stuff, nah. So, yeah, thank you for reminding me about Patreon, Quentin. That was actually on my brain a lot yesterday and today. We had been doing Snowy Works ash cans, and so Drew was like, I told Drew to pause on that to like kind of figure out the Patreon situation and what we were going to do. And so I'd been thinking a lot about that, and so yeah. Drew and I have to discuss more. Drew Lenhart is Snowy Works LLC. We do Tales from the Dispatch with him, and he's our creator in residence at Indie Comics Dispatch. Does a lot for the Dispatch, really, and it doesn't get nearly enough credit for it because he doesn't like being on the shows and stuff like that. But he does a lot behind the scenes for our anthology and for helping out with patrons and stuff. So, yeah. Well, gentlemen, anything else to add before we close out this evening?
Oh yeah. We were talking about collectibles earlier. I went to a toy show this weekend. Oh yeah. My goodness. The big score. The big score of the day. Back in the '80s, they had the GI Joe things where, in the figure you had that little piece of paper with a couple of UPC symbols and $5 in shipping and handling. You can get your own copy, your own Refrigerator Perry action figure.
I remember that. I remember trying to get one.
I got one this weekend after 30 plus years of wanting it.
Nice.
I actually saw one, and went, oh my goodness. Haggled a little bit. The guy went, yeah, I've got it for $80 on eBay, and I told him, yeah, I'll give you 60 for it. Well, that's a bit of a cut. Well, when you consider how much money you're going to be losing in you're going to lose between the eBay fees and shipping. Mm-hmm. You're going to be paying $60 getting $60 anyway.
Yep.
Smart.
$60 cash right now versus waiting for it. Yep.
But as cool as that wasn't even the score of the day. The score of the day was going through a buck box. Found Superman's pal Jimmy Olsen, number 134. The first appearance of Darkseid. And that walked, and I was telling the guy as I'm going through the box, there's stuff in here worth a lot more, and the seller was going, yeah, I'm just trying to make room, and the comics got to go.
Wow.
So, First appearance of Darkseid for $1.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's awesome.
That is definitely a steal.
Everybody, it is Brian's 27th birthday tomorrow. So if you want to buy him toys and comic books, you can. He doesn't look a day past 28.
Yeah, right. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. Way to start it off.
My birthday's coming next month. There's a particular Transformer out there that I've been eyeballing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Brian, you know the one.
The King. It's gonna be, yeah. It's gonna look awesome, dude.
Well, guys, we will be back in 14 days because during the summer months we are only doing this every other week, and that's summer months plus Brett getting used to driving downtown every week and stuff still. And so we will be back in 2 weeks with another episode, and we look forward to talking to you then. Talk to you guys later.
See ya.
Have a good night, guys.